Have you ever wondered why some people seem to achieve their goals effortlessly, while others struggle to make progress? What's the secret ingredient that separates success from stagnation? The answer lies in habits, those small, repeated actions that, over time, shape the trajectory of our lives. Success isn't about dramatic transformations or lucky breaks. It's about consistency. Every great achievement starts with small, purposeful habits that compound over time. Yet, building and maintaining those habits can feel overwhelming, especially when life gets busy. That's where this book comes in. In Habits' Power, Boost Growth with a Success Focus, you'll discover a step-by-step guide to transforming your habits, one small change at a time. This isn't just about doing more, it's about doing what matters most, with focus and intention. Together, we'll unlock your potential and create habits that lead to lasting success. Are you ready to take the first step? Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Foundation of Success. Understanding the Power of Habits. What if I told you that the small things you do every day, often without much thought, are the real architects of your success? Habits, those seemingly insignificant routines, hold incredible power. They determine how we spend our time, shape our decisions, and ultimately create the life we live. Each day, the choices you make, consciously or unconsciously, compound over time to define your future. Understanding this power is the first step to unlocking a more successful, focused, and fulfilling version of yourself. Habits are powerful because they operate in the background, requiring little mental energy once they're established. Think about brushing your teeth or making your morning coffee. You don't decide each day whether to do these things. They're automatic. These habits save your mental resources for more complex decisions. Now imagine if equally automatic habits, like a daily walk, consistent planning, or dedicating time to learning, were working to move you closer to your goals. The magic of habits lies in their cumulative impact. One action may feel small, even trivial in the moment, but repeated over weeks, months, or years, it becomes transformative. Small changes, repeated consistently, have the potential to rewrite your entire story. Consider the story of Maya, a freelance designer who was always stressed about meeting deadlines. She'd often leave projects until the last minute, which resulted in sleepless nights, anxiety, and work she knew could have been better if she'd had more time. Maya decided to build a simple habit, spending 15 minutes every morning organizing her tasks for the day. At first, it felt like a drop in the ocean. What could 15 minutes really achieve? But over time, Maya noticed she was more organized, productive, and calm. Her mornings, once a chaotic rush, became an anchor for her day. This small habit freed up her mental space, reduced her stress, and gave her confidence to manage her workload effectively. Today, she's thriving, with a successful business and a healthier mindset. What started as a small deliberate act turned into a cornerstone of her success. The concept of habits goes beyond individuals like Maya. Think of professional athletes, successful entrepreneurs, or artists at the top of their game. Behind their achievements is a foundation of daily habits, practices they commit to, regardless of mood or circumstance. Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps, for instance, didn't just rely on talent. His success was built on habits of relentless training, visualization, and consistency, repeated every single day. He practiced even on days when he didn't feel like it, trusting the process to carry him forward. Talent may start the engine, but habits keep the vehicle moving. This applies to every aspect of life: personal growth, career success, relationships, and even mental health. What's even more empowering is understanding that habits are not fixed, they're changeable. You are not defined by the habits you currently have, good or bad. Habits are patterns, and patterns can be reshaped with intention and effort. It begins with identifying the habits that are holding you back and replacing them with ones that align with your aspirations. For example, if you tend to scroll through social media for an hour before bed, consider replacing that time with reading, journaling, or reflecting on your day. This single shift might seem small, but over time, it creates a ripple effect, influencing not just your evenings, but how you sleep, how you wake up, and how you approach the following day. Every positive habit you introduce strengthens your foundation for success. At its core, habit building is about creating a system that works for you, not against you. One powerful insight is to focus on the process, not just the outcome. Let's say your goal is to get fit. Instead of obsessing over the weight you want to lose or the number on the scale, focus on the habit of exercising regularly. Whether it's a 10-minute walk, a yoga session, or a gym workout, the act of showing up consistently is what matters. By showing up for that habit every day, the results will naturally follow. This shift in perspective reduces overwhelm and keeps you motivated because you're no longer chasing a distant goal, you're living the process every day. The journey itself becomes the reward. Another key to successful habit building is starting small. Many people fail to sustain new habits because they try to do too much at once. They commit to drastic overhauls, like running 5 miles every day or giving up all sugar immediately, only to burn out within weeks. Instead, focus on manageable changes that feel almost effortless at first. A single push-up, one healthy meal, or 5 minutes of meditation might not seem like much, but these small wins build momentum. Over time, they lead to bigger results because they're sustainable and consistent. As we move through this book, you'll learn how to build habits that stick, even when motivation wanes. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes, but habits are reliable. By designing habits that are simple, rewarding, and sustainable, you can create a system that works for you, even on your hardest days. You'll uncover strategies to make habits easier to start, harder to break, and more aligned with the life you want to create. But for now, take a moment to reflect on the habits that currently shape your life. Which ones are lifting you up and which ones are holding you back? Becoming aware of your habits is the first step toward change. Ask yourself, what do I do automatically every day, and how does it impact my life? This awareness is the foundation for transformation. Once you recognize the habits that no longer serve you, you gain the power to replace them with ones that will. Remember, the small things you do every day are the real architects of your success. Your habits have the power to shape not just your actions, but your identity. When you commit to habits that align with your values and goals, you're not just creating a better future, you're becoming a better version of yourself, one day at a time. Here's a practical takeaway. Start small. Choose one habit you'd like to introduce or improve. For instance, if you want to drink more water, begin with a single glass every morning. Keep it manageable and let consistency build your confidence. As you stick with this habit, you'll see how even the smallest changes can lead to significant growth. To deepen your reflection, consider this question. If your daily habits were seeds, what kind of life are you planting right now? Think about it, because the habits you cultivate today will shape the garden of your tomorrow. Chapter 2. Breaking Barriers. Overcoming Resistance to Change. Why does change feel so difficult, even when we know it's for the better? It's a question many of us ask when we find ourselves stuck in old patterns, even as we aspire to adopt new habits. The answer lies in resistance, our mind's natural inclination to stick with what feels safe and familiar. Resistance is a force we all face, but it's not insurmountable. With the right strategies and mindset, we can overcome it and move closer to the life we envision for ourselves. Resistance to change is deeply rooted in our psychology. As humans, we're wired to conserve energy and avoid risk. Our brains evolved to prioritize survival, favoring routines that feel predictable and safe over the uncertainty of trying something new. This is why our minds often cling to habits and patterns, even when they no longer serve us. Take, for example, the struggle to start exercising. You know it's beneficial for your health and energy levels, but after a long day, the pull of the couch feels stronger than the call of the gym. That tug of war is resistance in action, a clash between your desire for change and your brain's preference for comfort. One of the most common barriers to change is the fear of failure. When we imagine starting something new, like adopting a healthier diet, pursuing a passion, or learning a skill, our minds often race to the potential pitfalls. What if I make a mistake? What if I'm not good enough? This fear can paralyze us, stopping us before we even begin. But what if failure isn't something to fear, but something to embrace? Every misstep is a chance to learn and improve. In fact, the most successful people often credit their growth to lessons learned from failure. The key is to reframe your perspective. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the journey. It's a stepping stone, not a dead end. Another challenge is the allure of instant gratification. Modern life is filled with distractions that offer immediate rewards, scrolling through social media, binge-watching TV shows, or indulging in comfort food. These activities can feel satisfying in the moment, but they often derail our long-term goals. Resistance thrives on this dynamic, convincing us to choose the easy, fleeting pleasure over the harder but more rewarding path. To overcome this, it's important to shift your focus from short-term pleasure to long-term fulfillment. For instance, instead of thinking about how hard it is to prepare a healthy meal, think about how energized and proud you'll feel after eating something nourishing. This shift in mindset can help you break free from the grip of resistance and reframe your actions as investments in your future self. Consider the story of James, a writer who dreamed of publishing a novel but found himself procrastinating for years. Every time he sat down to write, he felt overwhelmed by the enormity of the task. The blank page seemed to mock him, and he would quickly find an excuse to do something else: cleaning, answering emails, or scrolling through his phone. One day, James decided to tackle his resistance in a new way. Instead of aiming to write an entire chapter, he set a goal of writing for just 10 minutes a day. This small, manageable step helped him bypass his fear of failure and build momentum. Over time, those 10-minute sessions grew longer, and within a year, James had completed his manuscript. The blank page no longer intimidated him. It became an invitation to create. The lesson here is that resistance isn't an immovable obstacle. It's a signal that you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And that's a good thing. It means you're growing. Resistance often shows up strongest when you're on the verge of making meaningful progress. Instead of seeing it as a roadblock, view it as a challenge to be met with curiosity and creativity. The key to overcoming resistance is to start small. Focus on progress rather than perfection, and remind yourself of your deeper why. Why does this change matter to you? What's the bigger picture you're working toward? Keeping these questions in mind can help you stay motivated when resistance rears its head. Starting small is one of the most effective strategies for overcoming resistance. When the task ahead feels overwhelming, breaking it into tiny, manageable steps can make it less intimidating. For example, if your goal is to exercise regularly, start with just 5 minutes of movement. If you want to declutter your home, tackle one drawer or shelf at a time. These small victories create momentum, helping you build confidence and gradually expand your efforts. At the same time, it's important to create an environment that supports your goals. Resistance often thrives in environments filled with distractions or temptations. By designing your surroundings to make positive choices easier and negative habits harder, you can reduce the friction that resistance relies on. For example, if you want to eat healthier, keep nutritious snacks within reach and limit the availability of junk food. If you're trying to focus on a project, eliminate distractions by turning off notifications or setting up a dedicated workspace. Small changes to your environment can make a big difference in how effectively you overcome resistance. Another crucial element is self-compassion. Change is a process, not an overnight transformation. It's natural to stumble along the way, and beating yourself up for missteps only strengthens resistance. Instead, approach setbacks with kindness and curiosity. Ask yourself, what triggered this? What can I learn from it? Each stumble is an opportunity to adjust and improve. Remember, progress isn't about being perfect. It's about continuing to show up and try again. Resistance can feel daunting, but it's also a sign that you're aiming for something meaningful. It's a reminder that change is a challenge worth pursuing. When you face resistance, don't see it as a reason to stop. See it as proof that you're stepping into new territory. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when we push ourselves, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. As you move forward, remember this. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory. Each action brings you closer to the person you want to become. Resistance may not disappear entirely, but with patience, persistence, and the right strategies, you can learn to work with it and move beyond it. Change may not always be easy, but it is always possible. So what's one small step you can take today to overcome resistance? Start there, and trust that with each step, you're building the momentum you need to create lasting transformation. Here's a practical strategy to begin overcoming resistance. Create an environment that supports your goals. If you want to exercise more, lay out your workout clothes the night before. If you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nutritious options and remove temptations. Your environment plays a powerful role in shaping your behavior, so design it to make success easier. To close this chapter, ask yourself, what resistance are you currently facing in your life? And what small step can you take today to move past it? Write down one action, no matter how small, and commit to doing it. Each step forward chips away at resistance, bringing you closer to the life you want to build. Chapter 3. The Success Blueprint. Designing your habits for growth. Have you ever set a goal that felt inspiring at first, only to find yourself losing momentum along the way? Maybe it was learning a new language, exercising regularly, or saving money. The truth is, achieving success isn't just about having big dreams. It's about creating a plan that turns those dreams into reality. That's where designing habits comes in. When you craft habits intentionally, they act as a bridge between your goals and your daily actions. At the heart of habit design is clarity. Before you can build effective habits, you need to understand what you're working toward and why it matters. Let's say your goal is to improve your physical health. That's a fantastic aspiration, but it's broad and vague. How will you get there? Will you exercise? If so, how often and for how long? Will you change your diet? If so, what specific changes will you make? Defining these details transforms an abstract goal into actionable steps, and that's the first step in designing habits for growth. One of the most effective ways to design habits is to make them specific and manageable. Broad intentions like, I want to exercise more, are less likely to stick compared to clear, actionable habits like, I'll go for a 20-minute walk every morning. Specificity removes ambiguity and gives your brain a clear directive. When your habits are well-defined, they're easier to follow and integrate into your routine. Consider Priya, a busy accountant who wanted to improve her mental health by practicing mindfulness. At first, she told herself she'd try to meditate more, but without a specific plan, the idea quickly fell by the wayside. Then Priya decided to redesign her approach. She set a habit of meditating for 5 minutes each evening before bed. To make it easier, she placed a small cushion in her bedroom as a visual cue and used a meditation app to guide her. By creating a clear, actionable habit, Priya was able to stick with her practice, and over time, she noticed a significant improvement in her focus and overall well-being. Another important aspect of habit design is aligning your habits with your environment. Our surroundings play a powerful role in shaping our behavior, often without us even realizing it. If your goal is to eat healthier, but your kitchen is stocked with junk food, you're creating unnecessary friction. On the other hand, if you fill your fridge with fresh fruits and vegetables and prep meals in advance, you make it easier to stay on track. The idea is to design your environment in a way that supports your habits and minimizes obstacles. Let's look at Ethan, a college student who struggled to stay focused while studying. His desk was often cluttered with snacks, gaming consoles, and unrelated materials, making it hard to concentrate. Realizing this, Ethan redesigned his study space. He cleared off his desk, left only the essentials for studying, and placed his phone out of reach. This simple change helped him focus better and made studying feel less overwhelming. By aligning his environment with his goal, Ethan was able to develop a habit of consistent, distraction-free study sessions. In addition to specificity and environment, another key to habit design is attaching your habits to existing routines. This technique, known as habit stacking, helps you build new habits by linking them to ones you already do regularly. For instance, if you want to start journaling, you could stack this habit onto brushing your teeth in the evening. After brushing your teeth, you immediately sit down to write a few lines in your journal. This approach leverages the power of association and makes it easier for your new habit to take root. One final consideration in designing habits is ensuring they're rewarding. Habits that feel satisfying are more likely to stick. Rewards don't have to be extravagant. They can be as simple as acknowledging your progress or giving yourself a small treat. The key is to create a positive feedback loop that reinforces your habit and motivates you to continue. At this point, you might be wondering how to put all of these ideas into practice. Start by choosing one goal that's meaningful to you. Break it down into specific habits, design your environment to support those habits, and find ways to make them enjoyable. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every small step you take brings you closer to the life you want to build. To end this chapter, take a moment to reflect on your current goals. What specific habits could you design to move closer to those goals? Write down one habit you'd like to start and think about how you can integrate it into your daily routine. Consider this question: if success is the result of daily actions, what blueprint will you create to design the life you truly want? Chapter 4. Start small, dream big. Building habits that stick. Have you ever started something with enthusiasm, only to feel overwhelmed and give up when the effort seemed too great? It's a common experience, especially when you try to change too much too quickly. The truth is, big dreams are built on small steps. When it comes to creating habits that last, starting small is the secret to success. The idea of starting small may seem counterintuitive. After all, if you want big results, shouldn't you aim high from the beginning? While ambition is important, trying to do too much at once often leads to burnout and frustration. Our brains thrive on manageable, consistent actions. Small habits may not seem impressive at first, but they create a foundation for long-term change by building confidence and momentum. Consider Sarah, who wanted to start running to improve her health. She initially set a goal of running 5 kilometers every morning. But after a few days, she felt exhausted and discouraged because the effort was too much too soon. Instead of giving up entirely, Sarah decided to take a different approach. She committed to running for just 5 minutes a day. It felt almost too easy, but it was something she could do consistently. Over time, as her stamina and confidence grew, those 5 minutes turned into 10, then 20, and eventually she was running her first 5 kilometers with ease. Sarah's success wasn't about running a marathon on day 1. It was about starting small and staying consistent. Starting small isn't just about reducing effort, it's about building a habit's foundation. When you begin with an action that feels easy, you're more likely to repeat it. Repetition is key to habit formation because it reinforces neural pathways in your brain. Over time, these pathways strengthen, making the habit feel natural and automatic. Whether it's exercising, saving money, or learning a new skill, starting small allows your brain to adapt without resistance. Another benefit of starting small is that it reduces the fear of failure. When a task feels manageable, you're less likely to feel intimidated or overwhelmed. This builds a sense of accomplishment, which fuels your motivation to keep going. It's like climbing a staircase. Each small step gets you closer to the top, without the stress of tackling the entire flight all at once. Take, for instance, Alex, a student who wanted to improve his grades by studying more effectively. Instead of trying to overhaul his entire study routine, Alex started with a simple habit: reviewing his notes for 10 minutes before dinner. It was a small commitment, but it became a reliable part of his day. Over time, Alex noticed he was retaining information better and feeling more prepared for exams. That single habit grew into longer study sessions and a more organized approach to his schoolwork. Starting small didn't just improve Alex's grades, it transformed his attitude toward learning. It's important to remember that starting small doesn't mean staying small forever. Small habits are the seeds that grow into something bigger. Once a habit feels natural, you can build on it, adding layers of complexity or increasing the time and effort involved. This gradual progression keeps the process sustainable while allowing you to achieve your larger goals. To make starting small even more effective, pair your new habit with an existing routine. For example, if you want to start flossing your teeth, do it right after brushing. The existing routine acts as a trigger, making it easier to remember the new habit. This approach, known as habit stacking, creates a chain of positive actions that flow seamlessly together. One more way to ensure your small habits stick is to celebrate your wins, no matter how small they seem. Each time you complete your habit, take a moment to acknowledge your effort. This positive reinforcement strengthens the habit and makes you more likely to repeat it. It's not about waiting for big milestones to celebrate. It's about recognizing the progress you're making every day. As you think about the habits you want to build, ask yourself, what's the smallest possible step I can take today? Maybe it's writing one sentence if you want to start journaling, or drinking one extra glass of water if you want to improve your hydration. Starting small may feel insignificant, but it's the key to creating habits that last a lifetime. To close this chapter, reflect on this question. What small step can you take today to move closer to your big dream? Write it down and commit to it. Remember, every small action you take is a building block for something extraordinary. Start small, dream big, and trust the process. Your future self will thank you. Chapter 5. Momentum Matters, Turning Effort into Progress. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to keep going once you've started something? Whether it's cleaning your house, writing a report, or working out, the hardest part is often taking the first step. But once you're in motion, it feels like the effort begins to flow more naturally. That's the power of momentum. Momentum is what turns initial effort into sustained progress, and understanding how to harness it is a game changer when it comes to building habits and achieving success. Momentum works because of a principle often called the physics of progress. Just as an object in motion tends to stay in motion, a person who begins to take small, consistent steps toward a goal finds it easier to keep moving forward. This is why starting small is so effective. Each small victory builds confidence, and that confidence fuels the energy needed for the next step. Over time, these small steps create a ripple effect, transforming initial effort into meaningful progress. Let's consider the story of Mia, a graphic designer who struggled to complete personal projects. She often felt overwhelmed by the sheer amount of work required to bring her ideas to life, so she'd procrastinate and end up abandoning projects halfway through. One day, Mia decided to focus on building momentum rather than trying to finish everything at once. She committed to spending just 15 minutes a day working on her designs. Those 15 minutes felt manageable, so she stuck with them. After a week, she noticed it was easier to extend her work sessions because she was already in the zone. Within a few months, Mia completed a project she had been putting off for years. By focusing on momentum, she turned her scattered efforts into steady progress. Momentum doesn't just apply to creative projects. It's relevant in every area of life. Take Aaron, for example, who wanted to get in shape but felt discouraged by how far he was from his fitness goals. Instead of forcing himself into a rigorous workout routine right away, Aaron started by taking a short walk around his neighborhood every evening. Those walks gradually became longer, and soon he was jogging, then running. The key wasn't that Aaron suddenly became more motivated. It was that he let momentum do the heavy lifting. Each step he took made the next one easier, and before long, exercise became a natural part of his life. One of the most powerful aspects of momentum is that it helps you overcome resistance. Often we resist tasks because they feel too big or intimidating. Momentum shrinks those tasks down to size by breaking them into smaller, more manageable parts. Once you've taken the first step, the psychological barrier disappears, and the task starts to feel less daunting. This is why productivity experts often suggest the 2-minute rule, which involves starting a task by committing to just 2 minutes of effort. More often than not, those 2 minutes lead to longer periods of focused work because you've already overcome the hardest part, getting started. Momentum also thrives on consistency. Small actions repeated regularly create a snowball effect where progress compounds over time. Think of it like saving money. Putting away a few dollars each week might not seem significant at first, but as the weeks turn into months, the savings add up. The same is true for habits. A daily 5-minute practice may not seem transformative initially, but over weeks and months, it builds into a meaningful achievement. It's important to note that momentum doesn't mean perfection. There will be days when life gets in the way and you miss a step. The key is to pick up where you left off as soon as possible. Momentum is forgiving. It's about the overall pattern, not the occasional misstep. In fact, resilience in the face of setbacks is a crucial part of maintaining momentum. When you accept that setbacks are part of the process, you're less likely to feel discouraged and more likely to keep moving forward. Another way to harness momentum is to celebrate your progress along the way. Recognizing small wins reinforces your efforts and keeps you motivated to continue. For example, if your goal is to read more books, celebrate completing each chapter rather than waiting until you finish the entire book. Each celebration fuels your momentum, creating a positive feedback loop that keeps you engaged with your goals. As you think about momentum in your own life, consider the habits or projects that you've been struggling to start or sustain. What's one small action you could take today to build momentum? Remember, it's not about making massive leaps. It's about taking that first step and allowing progress to unfold naturally. To close this chapter, reflect on this question. Where in your life could you benefit from the power of momentum? Write down one area where you felt stuck and identify the smallest action you can take to get started. Then commit to taking that action today. Momentum isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, one small step at a time. Trust the process and let momentum carry you forward. Chapter 6. Navigating Setbacks. Resilience in Habit Building. Have you ever set out to build a new habit, only to find yourself slipping back into old patterns when life got busy or challenging? It's a common experience, and one that often leaves us feeling frustrated or discouraged. But here's the truth. Setbacks aren't failures. They're part of the process. Learning to navigate these moments with resilience is what separates temporary efforts from lasting success. Setbacks happen to everyone, no matter how determined or disciplined they are. Life is unpredictable, and unexpected obstacles can derail even the best intentions. The key isn't to avoid setbacks entirely. It's to understand how to recover from them quickly and effectively. Think of habit building as a journey. Just like any road trip, there will be bumps along the way. What matters is how you handle those bumps and get back on track. Let's take the example of Elena, who set a goal to meditate every morning. For the first few weeks, she was consistent and felt the positive effects almost immediately. More focus, less stress, and a greater sense of calm. But then a busy work project came along, and her morning routine got interrupted. Days turned into weeks, and Elena began to feel like she'd lost all the progress she had made. Instead of giving up, Elena decided to revisit her original goal. She reminded herself why she wanted to meditate in the first place, and chose a smaller, more manageable version of her habit, meditating for just 2 minutes a day. This allowed her to rebuild her routine without feeling overwhelmed, and soon she was back to her full practice. Elena's story highlights an important principle. When setbacks occur, it's not about starting over from scratch. It's about picking up where you left off. Habits are resilient, much like muscles. Even if you take a break, the foundation you've built doesn't disappear entirely. By resuming your practice, even at a reduced level, you strengthen those habits again over time. One of the most effective ways to navigate setbacks is to shift your mindset about them. Many people view setbacks as a sign that they lack discipline or willpower. But in reality, they're simply feedback. A missed workout or a skipped journaling session isn't a failure. It's information. It tells you something about your current circumstances, your environment, or even the habit itself. For example, if you consistently skip workouts because your gym is too far away, that's a sign that you might need to explore alternatives closer to home. Viewing setbacks as opportunities to learn, rather than reasons to quit, empowers you to adjust your approach and keep moving forward. Another helpful strategy is to plan for setbacks in advance. This might sound counterintuitive, but expecting perfection is a recipe for disappointment. Instead, acknowledge that challenges will arise and decide how you'll respond when they do. For instance, if you know you tend to overeat at social gatherings, you could plan to eat a healthy snack beforehand, or set an intention to focus on conversation rather than food. By preparing for setbacks, you reduce their impact and increase your chances of staying on track. Consistency is another important factor in building resilience. While perfection is impossible, aiming for consistency helps you stay connected to your habits even when life gets tough. Even small actions, like doing one push-up instead of skipping a workout entirely, keep the habit alive. This approach, sometimes called minimum viable effort, ensures that you maintain momentum even on your busiest or most challenging days. Consider the story of Daniel, a college student who was trying to build a habit of daily writing. One week, he found himself overwhelmed with exams and assignments and didn't write a single word. In the past, this would have caused Daniel to give up on his habit entirely. But this time, he decided to focus on consistency over perfection. He set a goal to write just one sentence a day, no matter how busy he was. By lowering the bar, Daniel was able to stay connected to his habit. And once his schedule eased up, he naturally returned to his regular writing routine. Celebrating small wins is another powerful way to build resilience. When setbacks occur, it's easy to focus on what went wrong. But taking a moment to acknowledge what you've accomplished, even if it's just one small step forward, can boost your motivation and remind you of your progress. Each win, no matter how small, is a testament to your effort and commitment. As we've seen, setbacks don't define your journey, they're simply part of it. The real measure of success is how you respond to those moments. Do you let them derail you, or do you use them as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow? By embracing setbacks as natural and focusing on resilience, you can transform them into stepping stones on your path to lasting change. To close this chapter, take a moment to reflect on your own habits. Is there a habit you've been struggling to maintain? What setbacks have you experienced, and what can you learn from them? Write down one action you can take to get back on track, even if it's a small one. Remember, resilience isn't about avoiding challenges, it's about rising to meet them, again and again. Chapter 7. Habit Stacking. The shortcut to lasting change. Have you ever wondered why some habits seem to fit effortlessly into your life, while others feel like an uphill battle? The secret often lies in how you integrate them into your daily routine. Habit stacking, a simple yet powerful strategy, allows you to build new habits by attaching them to ones you already have. This technique turns your existing routines into anchors for new behaviors, making habit formation smoother and more sustainable. At its core, habit stacking works by leveraging the habits you already do consistently. For example, brushing your teeth, making coffee, or locking your front door are actions you perform without much thought. These routines create perfect opportunities to stack a new habit on top of them. The simplicity of this approach lies in its logic. Instead of trying to create an entirely new space in your day, you piggyback your new habit onto something that's already established. Imagine Emma, a young professional who wanted to improve her flexibility by incorporating stretching into her daily routine. Despite her good intentions, Emma struggled to find time for a dedicated stretching session. One day, she decided to stack her new habit onto her existing one: brushing her teeth. After finishing her nightly brushing routine, she spent just 2 minutes stretching. By tying her new habit to an existing one, Emma eliminated the need for extra mental effort to remember it. Over time, this small habit grew, and she began to feel the benefits of improved flexibility without needing to carve out extra time in her busy schedule. Habit stacking isn't just about convenience, it's about creating a chain reaction of positive behaviors. Each habit you add reinforces the one before it, creating a rhythm that feels natural and easy to maintain. This interconnectedness makes it less likely that you'll forget or abandon your habits because they're part of a larger system rather than isolated actions. Take James, for example, who wanted to build a habit of gratitude journaling. He knew that writing in a journal before bed was ideal, but he often forgot or felt too tired at the end of the day. To solve this, James stacked his journaling habit onto something he already did: turning off his bedside lamp. Each night, before switching off the light, he wrote down 3 things he was grateful for. Over time, the act of journaling became as automatic as reaching for the lamp, and it transformed his evenings into moments of reflection and positivity. The power of habit stacking lies in its simplicity. It eliminates the mental resistance of starting something new because the new habit is seamlessly integrated into an existing routine. This approach also helps you build momentum. Once you've successfully added one habit, you can stack another on top of it. For example, if you already have a habit of making coffee in the morning, you could stack a habit of drinking a glass of water before your coffee. followed by reading a page of a book while your coffee brews. This chain of habits turns a mundane morning routine into a powerful ritual for personal growth. Another advantage of habit stacking is that it creates a clear trigger for your new habit. Triggers are cues that remind you to perform a specific action. By tying your new habit to an existing one, you establish a reliable trigger that eliminates the need to rely on willpower or memory. The more consistent the trigger, the more likely the habit will stick. However, it's important to start small when using this strategy. Trying to stack too many habits at once can be overwhelming and counterproductive. Focus on integrating one habit at a time and give yourself the space to master it before adding another. This gradual approach ensures that your new habits become firmly rooted in your routine. Let's consider a real-life example. Mia, a mother of two, wanted to incorporate mindfulness into her day, but struggled to find a quiet moment amid the chaos of family life. She realized that her morning coffee was a rare pocket of calm, so she stacked a simple mindfulness practice onto this existing habit. While waiting for her coffee to brew, she spent 1 minute focusing on her breath. This small, manageable habit grew into a cherished ritual that helped Mia feel more grounded and present throughout her day. To make habit stacking even more effective, take a moment to visualize the sequence of your habits. Imagine how your day flows and identify where your new habit can fit naturally. The clearer the connection between your current habit and the new one, the easier it will be to adopt. As you think about how habit stacking could work in your life, consider this practical advice. Start with a habit you already perform daily and add one small action that aligns with your goals. For instance, if you want to read more, you could place a book on your pillow and read 1 page before turning off the light. If you want to drink more water, you could stack the habit of filling a glass of water onto brewing your morning coffee. To close this chapter, take a moment to reflect on your existing habits. What routines are already part of your day? How can you use those routines as anchors for the habits you want to build? Write down one habit you'd like to stack onto an existing one and commit to trying it for the next week. Remember, small changes lead to big results, and habit stacking is a powerful way to turn your aspirations into effortless daily actions. Chapter 8. Accountability and Support. Building a System for Success. Why is it that some goals seem easier to achieve when shared with others? The answer lies in the power of accountability and support. When you involve others in your journey, you tap into a powerful force that boosts motivation, provides encouragement, and helps you stay on track. Success isn't just about personal effort. It's about creating a network that amplifies your determination and keeps you focused on your habits. Accountability works because it creates a sense of responsibility. When you know someone else is aware of your goals, you're more likely to follow through. It's one thing to promise yourself that you'll wake up early to exercise. It's another to know that a friend is waiting for you at the gym. This external pressure isn't about guilt. It's about creating a system of mutual support that keeps you moving forward. Consider the story of Lisa and Carla, 2 coworkers who wanted to improve their fitness. Lisa had tried working out on her own before, but often found herself skipping sessions when she felt tired or busy. Carla had a similar problem. One day, they decided to become accountability partners. They made a pact to meet at the park 3 times a week for a morning jog. Knowing that the other person was counting on them made it easier to stick to the routine. Over time, their partnership became a source of motivation and encouragement, and they both achieved fitness levels they never thought possible. Accountability doesn't always have to come from a friend or family member. It can take many forms, from joining a group with similar goals to hiring a coach or mentor. For example, Tom wanted to save money for a vacation but struggled with impulse spending. He joined an online budgeting community where members shared weekly updates on their progress. Being part of a group with shared goals helped Tom stay disciplined and find creative ways to save. The group's encouragement and tips kept him motivated, and he eventually reached his savings target ahead of schedule. Support systems are another crucial component of habit building. While accountability focuses on staying on track, support systems provide the emotional and practical resources you need to succeed. Imagine trying to eat healthier when your family insists on stocking the kitchen with chips and sugary snacks. It's an uphill battle. Now, imagine the same goal, but with your family actively supporting you, trying new healthy recipes together, or keeping the pantry stocked with nutritious options. The difference is profound. Support systems can come from those closest to you, but they can also be found in unexpected places. Consider Emma, a new mother who wanted to establish a habit of taking daily walks with her baby. Initially, she felt isolated and struggled to stick with her goal. Then she discovered a local moms walking group. Joining the group not only helped Emma stay consistent with her walks, but also provided her with a community of like-minded people who shared tips, stories, and encouragement. The group became a source of strength and connection, turning her habit into a joyful part of her day. Accountability and support also help you navigate setbacks. When you hit a rough patch, having someone to talk to can make all the difference. They remind you of your progress, help you regain perspective, and encourage you to keep going. This is particularly important because setbacks are inevitable in any journey. A supportive network acts as a safety net, catching you when you stumble and helping you get back on track. To make the most of accountability and support, it's important to be intentional. Start by identifying 1 or 2 people who can help you stay accountable. Share your goals with them and let them know how they can support you. Be specific, whether it's sending a weekly check-in text, joining you for a habit-related activity, or simply being there to listen when things get tough. Clear communication ensures that everyone is on the same page and can contribute meaningfully to your journey. In addition to individual support, consider joining a group or community that aligns with your goals. Whether it's a fitness class, a book club, or an online forum, being part of a collective effort can boost your motivation and provide fresh perspectives. Surrounding yourself with people who share your aspirations reinforces your commitment and reminds you that you're not alone in your journey. While external accountability and support are valuable, don't forget about self-accountability. Keeping a journal, tracking your progress, or setting reminders can help you stay focused on your habits even when others aren't involved. For instance, Sophia, a writer working on her first novel, used a simple habit tracker to record her daily word count. Seeing her progress visually motivated her to keep going, even on days when she felt uninspired. The act of holding herself accountable turned writing into a consistent habit. As you reflect on the role of accountability and support in your own life, think about how you can build a system that works for you. Who can you reach out to for encouragement or guidance? What groups or communities align with your goals? Remember, asking for support isn't a sign of weakness, it's a strategy for success. To close this chapter, consider this practical question. Who in your life could help you stay accountable to your habits, and how can you involve them in your journey? Write down 1 action you'll take to build your support system. Whether it's a conversation, a text, or joining a group, take that step today. Together, accountability and support will strengthen your resolve and make your journey toward lasting change even more rewarding. Chapter 9. From Routine to Ritual. Making Habits Meaningful. Have you ever wondered why some habits feel like chores, while others become deeply fulfilling parts of your life? The difference often lies in meaning. When habits are tied to a sense of purpose or personal significance, they transform from mundane routines into enriching rituals. These rituals not only help you stay consistent, but also bring a sense of joy and satisfaction to your daily actions. Routines and rituals may seem similar, but there's a key distinction. A routine is a series of actions performed out of necessity or habit, often without much thought or emotion. For example, brushing your teeth before bed might be a routine, useful but not particularly inspiring. A ritual, on the other hand, is imbued with meaning. It's an action you approach with intention and mindfulness, turning an ordinary habit into a purposeful moment. Consider the story of Ava, a teacher who wanted to establish a habit of journaling to reduce stress. Initially, she treated it as just another task on her to-do list. She would hurriedly jot down a few sentences at the end of her day, often feeling more rushed than relaxed. Then Ava decided to turn her journaling routine into a ritual. She created a cozy corner in her living room with a soft chair, a scented candle, and a favorite pen. Each evening, she lit the candle, took a few deep breaths, and wrote about her day. The act of journaling became a cherished ritual, not just a stress reduction tool, but a time for reflection and self-care. By adding intention and meaning, Ava turned a simple habit into a moment of peace and connection with herself. The beauty of rituals is that they engage your emotions and senses, making habits more enjoyable and easier to sustain. When a habit feels meaningful, you're more likely to stick with it, because it resonates with something deeper within you. This is why rituals are often tied to personal values or aspirations. For instance, if family is important to you, a habit like eating dinner together every evening can become a ritual of connection and gratitude. Rituals also create a sense of rhythm and stability in your life. In a world that often feels chaotic, rituals act as anchors, grounding you in the present moment. Imagine Mark, a business executive who started a habit of walking every morning before work. At first, it was just a way to get some exercise, but as he continued, Mark began to use his walks as a time to clear his mind and set intentions for the day ahead. The ritual of walking became a cornerstone of his morning, providing clarity and focus that carried through to his work and personal life. Turning a habit into a ritual doesn't require elaborate changes. Small adjustments like adding a sensory element or aligning the habit with your values can make a big difference. For example, if your goal is to drink more water, you could elevate the experience by using a favorite glass or adding a slice of lemon. If you want to practice gratitude, you could write your reflections in a journal that feels special to you. These small touches transform a routine action into a meaningful ritual. Rituals also encourage mindfulness, bringing your attention fully into the present moment. Instead of going through the motions, you engage with your habit consciously, appreciating its impact on your life. This mindfulness strengthens the emotional connection to your habit, making it more rewarding. For instance, Sophia, an artist, turned her habit of sketching into a nightly ritual. She dimmed the lights, played calming music, and spent 15 minutes sketching whatever came to mind. This ritual not only improved her skills, but also became a meditative practice that helped her unwind after busy days. The transformative power of rituals extends beyond individual habits. When combined, they shape the culture of your life. Imagine a family that starts each day with a shared breakfast and ends it with a few moments of gratitude around the dinner table. These rituals create a sense of togetherness and shared purpose, strengthening relationships and fostering a positive environment. To create meaningful rituals in your own life, start by identifying the habits that matter most to you. Ask yourself why these habits are important and how they align with your values. Then think about how you can make them more intentional and enjoyable. This could involve adding sensory elements, creating a dedicated space, or simply pausing to reflect on the significance of the habit. It's also important to be patient as you transition from routine to ritual. Meaning isn't something you can force. It emerges naturally as you engage with your habits over time. The key is to approach each habit with curiosity and openness, allowing it to evolve into something that feels authentic and fulfilling. As we close this chapter, take a moment to reflect on your habits. Which ones feel like chores, and which ones bring you joy? How could you transform a routine into a ritual that adds meaning to your day? Write down one habit you'd like to enhance, and think about how you can make it more intentional and mindful. Remember, when your habits are rooted in meaning, they become more than actions. They become rituals that enrich your life and guide you toward the person you want to be. Chapter 10. The Infinite Loop, Sustaining Habits for Lifelong Success. What if the habits you worked so hard to build didn't just serve you for a few months, but for a lifetime? Imagine how different life could be if positive habits became so ingrained that they supported your growth no matter what challenges you faced. Sustaining habits isn't about rigid discipline. It's about creating an adaptable, self-reinforcing system that grows with you. This is the concept of the infinite loop. A cycle of consistent action, reflection, and improvement that ensures your habits remain relevant and effective throughout your life. The infinite loop starts with consistency. Consistency is the backbone of any habit. But it's not about perfection. Rather, it's about showing up regularly enough that your actions become part of who you are. Think of habits like watering a plant. You don't need to drench it every day, you just need to give it enough care over time to keep it thriving. Even small, regular actions can yield extraordinary results when sustained over the long term. Take the example of Lucas, a software engineer who wanted to stay physically active despite his busy schedule. Instead of committing to an overly ambitious routine, Lucas started with short, 15-minute workouts 3 times a week. Over time, these sessions became a non-negotiable part of his life. As his fitness improved, Lucas naturally increased the intensity and duration of his workouts. What began as a small, manageable habit grew into a lifelong commitment to health. Lucas wasn't just exercising, he was nurturing a sustainable cycle of improvement. Reflection is the next crucial element of the infinite loop. Without reflection, habits can lose their relevance or effectiveness over time. Life changes, and so do your goals and priorities. Periodically assessing your habits allows you to ensure they're still aligned with your values and aspirations. Reflection also helps you celebrate your progress, reinforcing the emotional rewards that keep habits alive. Consider Sophia, a marketing professional who built a habit of reading for 20 minutes each evening to expand her knowledge. A year into her routine, she realized she was gravitating toward novels rather than professional development books, which was fine but didn't align with her original goal. Instead of abandoning her habit, Sophia used reflection to recalibrate. She decided to alternate between fiction and professional development books, ensuring her reading habit continued to support her growth. Adapting your habits is another key to sustaining them. Rigidity can lead to burnout or boredom, especially when circumstances change. Flexibility allows your habits to evolve with your life, keeping them relevant and enjoyable. For example, Mia, a new parent, had a habit of running outdoors each morning. After having her baby, her schedule became unpredictable and outdoor runs were no longer feasible. Instead of giving up, Mia adapted by switching to short indoor workouts during her baby's nap times. This flexibility kept her active and allowed her to maintain her fitness habit despite her new responsibilities. The infinite loop also thrives on continuous improvement. Habits are not static. They can grow and deepen over time. Once a habit becomes second nature, look for ways to enhance it. For instance, if you've developed a habit of journaling for 5 minutes a day, you might explore different journaling techniques or use your entries to set actionable goals. Continuous improvement keeps your habits fresh and exciting, preventing stagnation and fostering a sense of progress. Support systems play a vital role in sustaining the infinite loop. As we discussed earlier, accountability and community can help you stay committed to your habits. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people who share your goals reinforces your commitment and provides inspiration when motivation wanes. Whether it's a workout buddy, a professional mentor, or an online group, having others in your corner can make all the difference. Finally, sustaining habits requires patience and self-compassion. There will be times when life gets in the way, and you temporarily lose momentum. The key is to avoid harsh self-criticism and focus on restarting the loop. Every habit, no matter how ingrained, may require adjustment or renewal at some point. This isn't a sign of failure. It's a natural part of growth. Remember, the infinite loop is about progress, not perfection. As we close this chapter, think about the habits you've been working on throughout this journey. Which ones have become second nature? Are there any that need recalibrating or adapting to better fit your life? Take a moment to reflect on your progress and consider how you can sustain your habits for the long term. Write down one habit you'd like to refine or enhance and outline a small step you can take to improve it. Sustaining habits isn't about rigid adherence to a plan. It's about creating a dynamic system that evolves with you. By embracing the infinite loop of consistency, reflection, adaptation, and improvement, you can ensure your habits continue to serve you for years to come. Your journey doesn't end here. It's just the beginning of a lifetime of growth and success. Conclusion? Throughout this journey, we've explored the power of habits to transform your life, one small step at a time. From understanding the foundations of habit formation to overcoming resistance building momentum and turning routines into meaningful rituals, you've learned practical strategies to create lasting change. Along the way, we've emphasized the importance of resilience, accountability, and reflection, key elements that ensure your habits continue to support your growth over time. Thank you for investing your time in this book, and most importantly, in yourself. Your dedication to building habits for success is the first step toward creating the life you truly want. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight, but every small action you take brings you closer to your goals. If you found this content helpful, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more insights on personal growth. Let's keep building a brighter future together.